Hey there, welcome back to the show. Today I want to talk all about your changing gut in perimenopause. So let's break it down. As you head into your 40s, you are probably noticing that you have more bloating, some constipation, acid reflux, some burping. Maybe you're dealing with loose stool and really stinky gas. As if we don't have enough to deal with in perimenopause, those seemingly innocent, quiet farts can be oh so deadly to those around us. But all jokes aside, when your hormones start to decline, your gut function is greatly impacted. All right, so we need hormones for a million things, as you're learning, but we also need hormones to have a healthy gut microbiome. We have hormone receptors all over our body, including our gut. And our gut produces and breaks down hormones. So it needs to be in tip-top shape. And as you're learning, in our perimenopausal years, we're losing some really important hormones: progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, and these all affect your gut health. So progesterone helps to reduce gut permeability or leaky gut. You've probably heard this term before. That is when the tight junctions in your gut loosen up, and that allows bacteria and toxins to get into your bloodstream where we don't want them. And both progesterone and estrogen boost gut bacteria diversity. We want a diverse microbiome, right? We want all these different healthy strains in our gut. Estrogen also maintains mucosal barrier function. It regulates stomach acid production, digestive enzyme secretion, and it also decreases the occurrence of peptic ulcers. Now, testosterone helps to improve the immune system in your gut, which is known as secretory IgA or SIGA. We explain SIGA to our clients as their gut army or their first line of defense. Essentially, it protects the mucosal lining of your gut and it helps to ward off pathogens, those bad gut bugs. So these hormones help to maintain the health and tissue of your digestive tract. They help to reduce leaky gut. They help with motility or moving food out of the body. They support stomach acid production, digestive enzyme secretion, as well as strengthen your immune system. So they're kind of a big deal, and it's not great as we're losing them. These hormones also affect, or the hormone changes also affect your thyroid health. And in turn, that's going to affect your gut health. When the thyroid gland is not functioning optimally, there is a downstream effect, and it causes a range of symptoms, including digestive issues. Many women have chronic GI issues, one being constipation, and they don't find relief because they have an undiagnosed thyroid condition. So that is just another reason why we highly recommend getting a comprehensive thyroid panel, especially if you're in your perimenopausal years. And we help you do that in our program, the Hormone Rescue. So your gut also affects your thyroid function. So things like inflammation, which stems from the gut, an imbalance of gut bacteria, low stomach acid, and infections such as H. pylori all impact your thyroid function. H. pylori is a very common bacteria overgrowth, which we see in many clients on their stool tests. And it's been linked to something called Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disorder, and it is one of the main causes of hypothyroidism, or a sluggish thyroid. And gut infections, bad gut bugs, and any pathogens, overgrowths, things like that are considered stressors on the body. When the body experiences chronic stress, and that is a physical stress, cortisol becomes dysregulated. That is our stress hormone, and that's going to impact your thyroid function, okay? So as you can imagine, we have a very big focus on gut health in the Hormone Rescue program, which at the time of this recording is open for July enrollment. Make sure you check out the link that's in the show notes so that you can check out information about our summer special that is going on now until the end of July. So we have a lot of clients that come to us with GI issues, right? Bloating, constipation, acid reflux, gas. And we know the role that our changing hormones play. So we focus a lot on things like mindful eating, addressing your stress. So many women don't realize that their stress affects their gut health. We focus on detoxification or detox support. We focus on mineral replenishment. We need minerals to support our gut health. And if our gut is not optimized, then we're not going to properly absorb our minerals and nutrients. We also focus on an anti-inflammatory diet. as well as optimizing your digestive function. And of course, if your budget allows, we utilize a GI map stool test to address underlying imbalances like gut infections. I mentioned H. pylori, dysbiotic overgrowths, any parasites that may be popping up, worms. We look at your intestinal health. How are you digesting your food? Do you have any inflammation? How are you detoxing estrogen? And any sort of fungal overgrowths like candida. We look for all that in a stool test. And then, of course, we address it. So one symptom that is very common in this stage of life that we see often is acid reflux. So many women are told to take antacids, which yes, those things may help temporarily, right, to help with that discomfort, but taking them long term is not ideal because we absolutely need stomach acid. We need stomach acid to break down our food so that we can absorb nutrients that we're consuming, as well as protect us from bad gut bugs or pathogens, ones that we do not want in our body. But many women believe and are told, often by their doctors, that they have too much stomach acid, when that is rarely the case. So let me explain. At the end of your esophagus, there's a small tube called the lower esophageal sphincter, or LES. That separates the end of your esophagus from your stomach. Think of it as like a fist that opens and closes, okay? When you eat, the tube should be open so that food can travel down to your stomach where it's supposed to go. When you're not eating, however, the tube should be closed. This is going to prevent that food and any digestive fluids from coming back up. Now, when you experience acid reflux, this is because that tube or that sphincter is open, okay? It's loose when it should be tightly closed. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have too much stomach acid. It means that your stomach acid is in the wrong place. Now, I'm not telling you to stop taking your PPI or your antacid, but I am telling you that you need to address those underlying imbalances that is causing that acid reflux, like H. pylori, for example. And there are different ways, better ways, to properly neutralize your stomach acid so that you are not depleting it. Again, we don't want to deplete our stomach acid. We need it. This is part of what we teach our clients. All right, I want to move along to another topic, hormone replacement therapy, which, as you know, is one of my favorite topics because, like I said earlier, when we start to lose those really amazing hormones, that's going to affect our gut health. Now, some providers believe that you should be optimizing your gut health and doing all these things before you start HRT. Now, for some women, perhaps that is the case. However, know that when you don't have these hormones on board, it's going to be really difficult to improve your gut health, right? You can be doing all these things and you may not be feeling well because you don't have enough hormones on board. So replenishing hormones can really help to improve the health and function of your digestive tract. With that said, your gut does regulate estrogen through an enzyme called beta-glucuronidase. This is a marker that we do actually see on a GI map. Now, that enzyme breaks down estrogens into their active forms. However, a compromised gut can impair the elimination of excess estrogen from the body. So if you are taking estrogen hormone replacement therapy and you are not feeling well and you have some estrogen excess symptoms, or a lot of people will say estrogen dominant symptoms, I don't really love that term, you are likely not eliminating estrogen efficiently. So your gut needs work. Ideally, you would be doing both, right? This is why I do what I do. This is why we do what we do in the hormone rescue. We look at your gut, we look at your minerals, all of your nutrients, making sure that you have all you need on board, and we educate you on hormone replacement therapy at the same time. So you could potentially be starting hormone replacement therapy while we're working on all these other things, as well as your foundations of health, managing stress, making sure you're eating properly, optimizing your sleep, and so on. Another thing to consider is there's specific gut bacteria that is needed to convert amino acids like tryptophan into serotonin. That is your happy neurotransmitter. And about 95% of serotonin is made in your gut. You've probably heard that before. So if your gut is imbalanced, your mood will be affected. And you may or may not know this, but about 40% of perimenopausal women experience depression. So not only is your gut imbalanced, but you are losing those amazing hormones and your mood will be greatly impacted. So another common symptom that we see with clients is constipation. I talked about that a little bit earlier. Now, it's not uncommon for women to skip 2 to 3 days at a time, but that's not normal. And it drives me bananas that doctors are telling women, it's normal to skip a few days, or you don't have to be pooping every day. No, 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 no. You must be pooping daily, right? 1 to 2 times is ideal. You want to make sure that your poops are long and they're solid. They look like almost like a snake or a banana, if you will. And you're not straining when you're going to the bathroom. You want to make sure that you're pooping regularly. Otherwise, toxins, waste, and hormones like estrogen get recirculated in the body. And that's why a lot of women just don't feel good, because you're not pooping regularly, all right? Not pooping can also cause an imbalance of gut bacteria, and you end up with low levels of the healthy species and overgrowths of the bad gut bugs. This can lead to inflammation, gut infections, like I said, H. pylori, and affects hormone production as well as detoxification. We see this all the time with our clients. So besides the hormone changes that are happening in this stage of life and a sluggish thyroid, some things to consider if you are dealing with constipation are you dehydrated? A lot of women are drinking water and they don't even realize that the quality of their water matters. They need to be making sure they're replenishing electrolytes and getting about half of their body weight in ounces daily. Ideally, you would filter your water as well. Please invest in a filter if you do not have one. Chronic stress is another one. So many of us are dealing with stress nowadays. We're living in a crazy world. It is an election year. There is just so much unrest. So it is so important to create better boundaries and protect your nervous system, because when you are stressed out, it will affect everything. I mentioned how it affects your thyroid. It's going to affect your gut health as well. The other thing is too little fiber. A lot of women, especially in this stage of life, you may be doing like a program where they're telling you to track your macros or whatever, and you're hearing everybody online telling you, eat more protein, eat more protein. Yes, I'm one of those people. We love protein. We need it. However, you also want to make sure that you're getting ample fiber. Another thing to consider is food sensitivities. A lot of women are dealing with food sensitivities and they have no idea. They never even put 2 and 2 together. Sedentary lifestyle is another big one. We are sitting a lot, right? As just in modern day, we sit a lot. We're inside. So make it a point to get out and move your body. And then, of course, there's poor eating hygiene. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. Now you have kind of like an overview of what's going on in your body in terms of the hormone changes, what's going on with your gut, some reasons for constipation, what to do about acid reflux. But I wanted to give you some tips to start to implement so that you can really optimize your gut health and in turn start to feel better. So the first one is I want you to increase your fiber. And that's going to look like vegetables and fruit. Yeah, you can throw in like some grains or whatever here or there, but ideally you would be getting a lot of vegetables and some fruit. Do not be afraid of fruit. It is a wonderful complex carbohydrate. It is filled with vitamins, minerals, all the things your body needs, and it feeds good gut bacteria, and it also binds to toxins to help be eliminated from the body. Fiber in general, right? So we need fiber for, and also blood sugar management. You want to be aiming for about 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day, okay, if not more. Obviously, you want to be consuming animal protein. I just talked about that. A lot of women think that protein is what's going to cause constipation. We actually need a lot of the nutrients, the minerals, the vitamins that are in protein to support detoxification. So if you can, make sure you're buying quality meat products. Look for grass-fed, pasture-raised, things like that. And chew as much as possible, because if you are ramping up your protein in this stage of life, you may find that you are a little bloated, or you may be dealing with some acid reflux because you've upped your animal protein intake. It's not that the animal protein is bad, it's that your gut needs support. So you want to be chewing as much as possible. That is where digestion starts, because you have saliva, right? And there's enzymes in there that help to break down the nutrients from your food. So you want to chew as much as possible so that your gut doesn't have to do so much work. All right, number 3 is you want to be calming your nerves. And I know that's hard to do nowadays, especially in this climate that we are in. It is a crazy year. It's going to be a crazy year. But I am doing my best to minimize any outside noise, meaning the news, arguments with strangers online, politics. I am just trying my best to create really solid boundaries this year so that I can take care of myself, because all of that is fluff. It's just noise and it's not supporting you in any way. So do what you have to do to calm your nervous system, all right? Because that stress is going to slow everything down, including your digestion. It's going to decrease your stomach acid, and it's going to put you at risk for those pathogens that wreak havoc on our bodies. All right, number 4, I want you to think about some of the common food triggers, things that a lot of people are sensitive to but don't even realize it. I'm talking about gluten. I'm talking about dairy, or at least conventional dairy. Sometimes goat or sheep milk people can do okay with, but a lot of people just don't do well with dairy in general. Corn is another one. It's typically genetically modified. The corn that's out there is pretty crappy. That's a hard one for me because sometimes I like to have tortilla chips if I go out, but I try to minimize that myself. And you want to minimize the seed and vegetable oils. And I get it. It's hard to do when you're going out to eat, but at least at home, when you're preparing your own meals, opt for better oils, okay? Better healthy fats. The other thing is you want to chew your food almost until it's liquid. I kind of said a little bit about that earlier. You want to help your gut digest almost pre-digest your food. So just try to chew as much as you can until the food is almost liquid. And you also want to avoid drinking large beverages while you're eating because that dilutes your stomach acid. Move more. I talked a little bit about that earlier. You want to get your body moving. I recommend aiming for about 10,000 steps per day, preferably outside. I know some people think like that's a lot. How can I do it? I'm working all day. Well, I don't know. Take more breaks. Go to the bathroom. Go talk to a coworker. I don't know what the answer is for every one of you, but I know when I worked in corporate, I made it a point every day to walk around the office, walk around the building outside, even in crappy weather. I just put like a coat on. I would bring my umbrella, and I would get my body moving. It's so important. And then the last thing is, there's a couple things in terms of supplements. So one thing, and I don't like to give general supplement recommendations because I don't know you personally. I haven't looked at your labs. We haven't run any testing on you. However, I'd like to just give a couple of things that you can consider. One is a probiotic, a quality probiotic. We like spore-based ones. The brand that I love is Microbiome Labs. They actually have some really great products. They also have prebiotics. So you want to check both of those out. Probiotics do one thing, prebiotics do something else. We need both. I'm actually a bigger fan of prebiotics because that's going to feed the good gut bacteria. But they have some really great products. I will link to them in the show notes, and you can save with my code. You actually need a practitioner code to purchase from them. And then the other thing to consider, and this is just a mineral that we love, is magnesium. I know you've heard me talk about it, and I'm sure you've heard a million other people talking about magnesium. So many of us just do not have enough of this amazing mineral on board. And there are different forms of magnesium. One in particular that helps specifically with like constipation is magnesium citrate. It's not my ideal or preferred form. However, if you're in a bind, pun intended, and you need to loosen things up, magnesium citrate can be helpful. And it can also help you sleep better at night. So ideally you would take it at night, you would drink a lot of water the next morning, move your body, and hopefully you will poop. All right, I hope that was helpful to you. I could go on and on when it comes to gut health. I'll probably do future episodes on it. If you have any questions or anything that you want me to answer specifically, feel free to send me an email and I'll absolutely do an episode on that. Hopefully that was helpful, and I will see you next week. Hey, before you go, if you're resonating with this podcast and realize that your symptoms are anything but normal, my comprehensive program, The Hormone Rescue, may be a great fit for you. My team and I help women in their mid-30s to early 50s improve symptoms such as fatigue, disrupted sleep, anxiety, erratic moods, bloating, and so much more. We do this by utilizing functional testing, comprehensive blood work review, a personalized plan tailored to you, women's health and hormones education, and ongoing support. If you're ready to commit to your health and feel better than you have in years, check out the link in the show notes to learn more about the Hormone Rescue. The information provided is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not, nor do I act as a doctor or any other medical professional. I am not providing healthcare, medical services, or attempting to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any physical, mental, or emotional disease or condition. The information shared is not intended to be a substitute for the professional medical advice provided by your own medical or mental health provider.